Hadass, I understand you're learning some more information about that dance party that was taking place near the border and the fatalities there.
Yeah, Anderson. So we're now getting official confirmation, according to Israeli medical services, that 260 bodies have now been discovered and recovered from the scene of that music festival. This was called the Nature Festival. This was essentially a rave in the wilderness. And videos we're seeing from just before the attack took place makes it look like, your typical music festival, rave, all-night party with a bunch of young people dancing to DJs. But then after these rockets started launching around 6:30 on Saturday morning, militants then directly attacked this music festival. We have heard now and seen the videos, the harrowing videos of people trying to escape. This is also where several civilians were captured and taken hostage by Hamas, including that video that we've all seen so often of that young woman on the back of a motorcycle pleading as she's being taken away by Hamas militants. And we knew that there was going to be a high number of casualties at this event, just by the sheer number of young people who attended, but also because what we heard from survivors who had escaped, some of them in really harrowing ways to get out of there, because many of them, Anderson, went to this sort of middle of nowhere place on shared buses, on shared cars, shared taxis. They didn't exactly keep their cars there. So many of them fled essentially on foot. And we've heard from some people just talking about how they witnessed their own friends getting shot at. One even told Israeli media that he believes they were shot at by an RPG, not just, regular rifles. Others said that they essentially escaped into the wilderness, into the nature, and hid in the bushes for hours on end until they thought it was safe enough to leave. But now we are officially getting note that there are 260 bodies were found at this music festival. Right now, the death toll on the Israeli side is north of 600. Anderson, this might be the biggest mass casualty event in Israeli history. I would have to go, looking through the statistics, looking through the history, but I can't recall off the top of my head another event where 260 people were killed in one place. And also keep in mind, Anderson, this does not count potentially others who had gone to hospital with injuries. I do think we should expect that the death toll, not only overall, but from this specific music festival, could rise in the coming hours and days.
And Hadass, just to be clear, we're not talking about deaths from a rocket that was fired from a great distance. You're talking about slaughter. You're talking about people who came and face to face shot up, stabbed, killed these people.
Yeah, as far as we understand now, I don't have this confirmed that a rocket or a mortar landed right there, but from what we've heard from survivors, from people who escaped, they didn't mention rockets that landed on them. All they mentioned was just militants who swarmed this event. And again, one of them talked about using things like RPGs, so it appears it wasn't just potential rifle fire. We've also heard from parents of some of these people who are attending the festival, because as you'd expect at a sort of all-night rave, a lot of them were young. A lot of them were in their 20s. And we heard from one father who just gave a press conference a few hours ago saying that he was on the phone with two of his daughters who attended the festival together. They called him when the militants first started coming in. He told them to lay on the ground face down, to hold each other. He said that he could hear men speaking Arabic around them. And he said he was on the phone with them for about 30 minutes before the last thing he heard was a few deep breaths. He says he has no idea where his daughters are, whether they're among the killed, whether they are among the captives, because we know that quite a few captives were taken from this event. Again, this is one of the darkest. This attack on a festival by itself, Anderson, would be one of the darkest days for Israel in its entire history. But now it has to be taken into account with what's happening across Israel right now, with all of these infiltrations, with these rocket attacks, and obviously this is still a quickly developing situation.
A slaughter of 263 young people at a dance. Hadass Gold, thank you.